Welcome to the Change Life Destiny Show, where we are highlighting the latest and greatest technologies that can help you prevent disease, promote wellness, and restore health. And today I'm very excited to be joined by the CEO and founder of Heartstrong Nutraceuticals, Mr. Mike Woods. Mike, thank you so much for being here with us today.
It is my pleasure to be here.
Mike, you have an incredible story that led you to starting this company and doing what you do. I would love for you to tell our viewers a little bit about it.
Sure. I had the distinction of having horrible genetics and a really bad family lineage of heart disease. That's kind of an oppressive psychological state when you're always under that.
Yeah.
I've always been involved in nutrition. I've always been passionate about natural supplementation and staying outside of drug therapies. And so from the time I was 25, I was taking all organic natural supplements. I was taking omega-3s. I was taking CoQ10, all the things that you're supposed to do to maintain a healthy heart.
Sure.
When I was 56, I had a coronary artery calcium scan test, and the results showed that I was in the 50 to 75% percentile, meaning I was worse than the average 56-year-old male. And I was angry, and I was frustrated because I'm doing everything right, and yet I have heart disease.
Yeah.
But along with that passion of constantly researching, I said, you know, and my doctor was talking to me about cholesterol medications and statin drugs, and statins are a $1 trillion industry. But I've read the research, and the research is that Harvard.edu, 50% of the people that have heart attacks have elevated cholesterol, 50% of the people that have heart attacks have normal cholesterol. So what can we learn from that? Nothing. I mean, it's just not conclusive data.
Yeah.
So I wasn't interested in getting on a cholesterol drug just to appease my doctor. I wanted to find out if there's ways to dissolve plaques. And it took me on this informational research journey, and I started reading about different enzymes. Enzymes came out of Japan, you know, with natto and nattokinase. It had been researched for decades.
Yeah.
Enzymes came out of University of Chicago in the 1980s. And there was a body of evidence that these enzymes dissolve arterial plaques. Scientific studies. Go on a 26-week oral course of these enzymes, and plaque is reduced 38%. And I'm saying to myself, why isn't this on the front page of the New York Times?
Right.
Why isn't this known? Why isn't my doctor telling me this? I'm having to find this out on my own. So I came up with the protocol, and I started taking these enzymes and vitamin D3 and K2 for the proper absorption and displacement of calcium in the body, because I had coronary deposits in my arteries, or excuse me, calcium deposits in my arteries. A year later, I went and had another coronary artery calcium scan, and it showed my score was 0. And there was absolutely no plaques in my arteries. Well, my doctor read that report, and he was not aware that I had an initial calcium score. And he goes, Mike, I'm pleased to tell you, you're perfect. I mean, you have a perfect score. You're incredibly healthy. Wow. And I said, yeah, doc, that's pretty cool, but let me show you my first test from 18 months ago. And he was absolutely dumbfounded. He goes, how did you do this? This is medically impossible. There is no protocol in medicine that shows you can completely dissolve arterial plaques and completely dissolve calcium deposits. And I showed him my research, and he read it. To his credit, he read it, and he did his homework, and it turns out he had advanced coronary artery disease, and he had a calcium score of 800. Yeah. He was a very sick man, and he went on the protocol. He phoned me 12 months later. I was on my way to the gym. He hadn't even told his wife yet. And he says, Mike, I just got my test results back. And I said, how was it? He goes, 12 months ago, I had a coronary artery calcium score of 800. Today, it's 200. So I had a 75% reduction in the coronary deposits in my arteries in 12 months, and I had an angiogram, and I have no stenosis. Wow. There are no visible plaques in my heart arteries.
I mean,
it's remarkable.
It is.
It's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's mind-blowing, and it's mind-blowing the more people don't know this. When you're saying the research was right in front of our eyes,
Sure.
It's like a pot of gold right there.
Sure.
And you just did the research, and you
Yep.
figured it out, and that's really incredible. How do we know you're not an outlier?
That is a great, in fact, that was the first question my doctor asked. He said, well, Mike, maybe it was just a miracle.
Yeah.
You know, there was this miracle occurred. And I said, oh, hey, I'm wide open to miracles. Give me all the miracles I can take. However, that doesn't match up with the research. all of the people in these research studies were having these positive effects. And it was countless. There's dozens and dozens and dozens of these papers. So I said, no, I'm not an outlier. I'm just verification of what these studies report. This stuff works. And it's incredible.
And so now you're on this mission to get more and more people to know about this, because heart disease, heart issues in this country, it's a huge problem.
Sure.
And we know that drugs are usually the first line of defense. And so you're here to say, no, we have something else. Tell us a little bit more about the actual protocol. What do people take? What do they do?
Absolutely. It's two parts. It's two fibrinolytic enzymes, nattokinase and serrapeptase. Nattokinase comes from natto, which is fermented soybeans. Funnily enough, in Japan, they have the lowest instances of cardiovascular disease of any industrialized nation because they've been eating natto for centuries. And natto is a fibrolytic enzyme. Serrapeptase was discovered at the University of Chicago in the 80s. It is also a fibrolytic enzyme, meaning they dissolve fibrin. So let's go back to, how do plaques form in our body? And there's some sort of inflammation that occurs. It could be from the water that we drink, the air that we breathe, chemicals, chemicals in the agricultural space, too much sugar. So there's an inflammation. And there is a healing response from our body, and that is our body produces cholesterol. I liken it to spackle in a dented wall. You get a dent in the drywall, you put some spackle paste to smooth it over. So cholesterol goes to that inflamed site. Fibrin develops, which is a very string-like protein. Kind of think of rebar in a concrete structure. So there's fibrin that develops in that cholesterol. Cholesterol is very thick, waxy fat. And if that healing response happened quickly and then our body reabsorbed it, there would be no calcium deposits. But because we have chronic inflammation from our society, our diet, the pollutants, those plaques aren't reabsorbed, so that sticky, waxy fat cholesterol starts to collect calcium. We get calcium deposits in our arteries, hardening of the arteries, atherosclerosis. So the enzymes are fibrinolytic enzymes, meaning they dissolve fibrin. And then I did a lot of research on how calcification is supposed to work in our body. And the study actually came out from postmenopausal women, and they were falling down and breaking their hips. And so they said, well, gosh, we need to give these women calcium. And they started developing kidney stones and gallstones and cardiovascular disease. They're getting calcium deposits. And it turns out they didn't have proper amounts of vitamin D3 and, most importantly, vitamin K2. D3 is critical in our body's absorption of calcium, but K2 is critical in the placement of that calcium, meaning it doesn't go into our soft tissues. It doesn't build up on the back of our teeth as tartar. It goes into the inside of our teeth and the inside of our bones. And we're chronically deficient. There are some studies, 85% of the people in America are deficient in D3. And because of this Western diet, they aren't getting K2 anymore. And so the D3 and the K2 put the calcium in the right places in our body. It actually dissolves the plaques in our arteries, puts it into our bones, so we get denser, stronger, healthier bones. And the fibrolytic enzymes dissolve those plaques. That's
incredible. And you are a wealth of knowledge, and I can't wait to learn more from you at our upcoming Changing Life and Destiny conference. And just to make it clear, practitioners would be super interested in this product for their patients as well as consumers.
Absolutely.
Both parties, anyone who really has a problem should be hearing about this product.
It is my contention that everybody should be on this protocol, at least preventatively. And people need to understand the mechanisms of action. Why does this occur? But yeah, we have several practitioners that are supplying these products in their practices. And of course, we're going direct to consumer as well. My highest value is truth. I just want the truth to go out to people. And truth resonates. And this whole conference is just to get truth to people.
Absolutely.
And the truth can set you free if you choose to use it. And that's fine. So my goal in this company and what we're doing is to educate people, let the truth go out, and if it will resonate with a certain bandwidth of people, so be it. And if other people want to poo-poo it and naysay it, that's fine. That's their choice. But I believe there's power in giving truth to people.
Absolutely. Mike, it's been so nice to talk to you and to meet you, and I can't wait to see you at the conference and for people to learn about this incredible product. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Roxy. Appreciate
And
it.
if you want to learn more, please go to www.changelifedestiny.com. That's where you'll learn about our upcoming events and how you can meet someone like Mike Woods and learn more about Heartstrong Nutraceuticals, which is really changing people's lives and destiny, and in a way that a lot of people don't know about, but they need to. Thank you so much. See you next time.